Good morning, class. I hope you're all able to hear me. Um, I'm going to continue the usual newspaper reading session today. As usual, just waiting for to view the stream. I think it's coming out really good. Right. So on that note, welcome everyone. Let me just check for my voice as well. The stream. Yes, yes, absolutely. Really good. Yes, yes. Voice and video both coming good. So, welcome on that note to Unacademy's online learning platform, YouTube platform, of course. So, let's take it ahead from here on for this thing. So, this is the channel's name. Let's Crack Management Exams. So, right now I'm streaming classes on two channels. Let's Crack Management Exams and on CAT for MBA. Both these channels together. Uh, this is a brief profile of myself. My name is Aritro Dasgupta, and I've been with Unacademy for about 6 months now. So I finished my MBA back in 2010 in the field of conservation and livelihoods, which I did from the Indian Institute of Forest Management located in Bhopal. Since then, I've had over a decade's experience in the areas of teaching, training, strategy consulting, executive recruitment, and in content writing. My experience has mostly been in India, though I've also had a stint in the Middle East and been published in the US. And of course, for the last several years, almost 6 years now, I've been involved with the coaching industry. So, rank holders for the top national level examinations during this period have been my students. So, this includes CAT, CLAT, DUJAT, etc. Right. So, what all you will receive from Unacademy, let me just show you. First of all, there are daily live classes, so you can see that the session is ongoing right now. तो बहुत सारे sessions continuously beamed होंगे, which will be really good for you guys. तो नीचे if you see इसको आप click करेंगे तो you will receive all the previous sessions as well. All my colleagues, in fact, another session is put out right side itself. One of my previous sessions has also been put up, so you guys can view all these sessions purane wale bhi. Of course, you get unlimited access. The moment you are enrolled, you get full access. There are live tests and quizzes as well, which are available. ठीक है, which is based on the entire syllabus, and of course the course content is extremely well structured. These are some of our star educators. Just take a look at their names and their number of followers and watch minutes. This is a slightly older screenshot, but I will actually be giving you really important news regarding these trainers. So many of them will be taking your classes in the next couple of days. I'm going to introduce today to some of the new batches which have been floated. So, guys, please wait for that. Meanwhile, this is how you receive notifications for the different classes. Just a sample this was, and this is how you receive notifications for the different batches. So there could be full-fledged batches with the entire syllabus, as you can see on top, or it could be for a specific subject, as you can see at the bottom. And that is something which I had also done in the month of October. मैंने भी आप लोगों को एक ये भेजा था, क्या कहते हैं, October I also floated a course. Right, let's continue then. Uh, this is the Unacademy advantage. There's a schedule that works very well for you. Of course, there's no language barrier, and you can learn anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter anything else. You may also interact with the educator anytime you want to get your doubts cleared. And of course, there are live polls as well. So if you see on the right hand side, we have this thing called the live chat window. So guys, please feel free. जो भी questions है यहाँ पे आप लोग पूछिए. I will be happy to answer. So likewise, if you guys, I will also be asking you guys quizzes on different topics. तो यहाँ पे आप लोग please डालिए. This shall go very well. ठीक है, there are live tests and quizzes, I told you, but after end of every quiz you also receive a detailed report and analysis which helps explain where exactly you stand versus the rest of the competition. There are detailed PDFs as well which you receive, not today because today is a newspaper session. uh, राइट सो न्यूज़पेपर सेशन में तो न्यूज़पेपर इटसेल्फ इज योर पीडीएफ बट मॉर्निंग में मैंने जो लिया था नवंबर करंट अफेयर्स उसमें एब्सोल्युटली देयर इज okay so as I was saying I'm going to introduce you guys to some new batches which have been established here so all these batches have only just begun just it's just been a couple of days this time so guys please feel free to join them कहीं पे भी join करोगे नीचे आपको कोड दिखेगा AD09 इसको प्लीज आप लोग फुल यूज कीजिए so there's one which started on the 21st. This is a batch for the beginners, people who are looking at greater class number of classes. So the likes of Shabana, Bharat, and Ravi, they are the three trainers in this. This is their background. Ravi, I told you right at the beginning, all three of them were on this list. मैंने जो list दिखाया था, you can see Ravi is there, Shabana and Bharat, all three of them on the left column of this page. So yes, that is Ravi for you. There's also Bharat with over 2 decades of work experience into teaching. He'll be training quants, and Shavana is of course a verbal specialist. She of course has over a decade's experience and been a multiple times 99 percentiler. This is the revision batch for the CMAT examination 2021. So remember, CAT does not have GK. So that is why this did not have a GK faculty. But यहाँ पे जो CMAT का बैच है because GK है तो एक और एजुकेटर है my friend my colleague Rushikesh who's also like me a GK trainer. He'll be taking care of GK. The team also has Gurpreet and Shankar and Abhishek, another friend of mine I've known for a really long time. Rushikesh, of course, you can see is a GK trainer like myself. Gurpreet, he'll be taking care of LRDI, cleared several examinations in the past. Shankar, another vastly experienced trainer, multiple times 99 percentile. Abhishek, I told you, he's from the IIM Bengaluru and SRCC. That's his background, and of course, mentored hundreds of students towards the top IIMs. Meanwhile, we also have the CAT 2021 batch. This is the weekday batch, so on not on the weekends, it's on the weekdays. So depending on your comfort level, you can join this. So Arun Sharma, Arun sir is one of the legends of the CAT coaching segment right since day one. He's got about 2 decades of experience and is definitely one of the giants of this industry. Abhilashan, also a very well known trainer. Aparna and Rahul, they represent the youth. They are among the youngsters in our team with, again, a great caliber. So please take a look. Arun sir, as you can see, he's a best-selling author, considered an aptitude guru, trained lakhs of students, as this says. Abhilasha, she's, besides being a trainer of verbal with over 2 decades of experience, she's also a writer, a columnist, and a poetess. And of course, Aparna, I told you, she is from the MDI Gurugram, one of the top B schools in the country, 99 percentiler in CAT. She'll be taking care of LRDI, while Rahul will take care of quants. He has also cracked the CAT exam on multiple occasions. Right, let's move ahead then. This is the final slide on the intro, and I just wanted to introduce you guys to this unique factor, which is the payment structure. So please take a look. I will just take care of the curtains because it's giving us a lot of bad reflections. But आप लोग ये please देखिए, मेरा कोड तो है ही नीचे present, and look at the price range. Right. So let's begin on that note then. Okay, so I'm going to take care of today's newspaper, which is the 25th of December. By the way, I should have told you right at the beginning, Merry Christmas to all of you. Also, Happy National Good Governance Day. Today is the birthday of one of our great Prime Ministers, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So, on his birthday is commemorated the National Good Governance Day. So, Merry Christmas and Happy National Good Governance Day to everyone present in this class. As usual, I will take you through the Hindu newspaper, which is always considered the most important newspaper for all kinds of entrance examinations. Right. So let's start with each of the topic. The government of India has renewed the offers for talks with the various farmer groups. So let's see if this works. Mr. Vivek Agarwal, who is the joint secretary of the agriculture department. He is the one who to whom a letter was addressed by the Kisan Sanyukt Morcha. So he and his team have responded. He is also the CEO of the PM Kisan's Yojana. So they have responded with another offer for dialogue with the farmers. Right, fair enough. Meanwhile, some of you might have been aware, and this is something which is, coming out a lot in the news. That for a while, we are now seeing that there's a new strain of the COVID-19 virus, which seems to have emerged from the United Kingdom. This has 70% greater efficacy. Apparently, it is more potent 70% than the previous, the original COVID strain. So that is alarming. That is why. I've already been telling you for a while now that all flights to and fro the United Kingdom have been closed till the end of this year. Now, in addition, different states in India have also responded with an increased vigil. So, what they have done is travelers from UK who have come back to India or who've landed originally, they are being traced. So, 6,000 travelers from the UK have been traced and isolated by the different health sectors. There's a parliamentary panel which has recommended that the athletes, coaches, and support staff who will be representing India at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, they should be given they should be put under the priority list for the vaccine. So they should be the first ones who will be in this list so that they can do well in the Olympics. Right, let's continue. Sticking with the United Kingdom, there has been a very important legislation which has come out yesterday. The Prime Minister of the UK, Mr. Boris Johnson, he and his team have confirmed that the UK has concluded a smooth exit talk with the European Union regarding the Brexit. For long, it was feared. I can see. Yeah, welcome Sonak. Good to see you in this class. Very good question. Why is general knowledge important in CAT exam? Very good question. General knowledge is, first of all, it is not there in CAT. I'll be very honest, but it's there in the other exams. So I'll give you different reasons. Pehla reason is GK is an important component of non-CAT MBA entrance exams like CMAT, MAT, ZAT, IFT, and TISSNET. Correct me if I'm missing out any of the major ones. It was part of SNAP as well, but it has now been removed from SNAP. It's not in NMAT either. So these exams. This is the first reason. The second reason is GK is essential for final selection via GD, VAT, extempore, PI, etc. GD group discussion, VAT is written ability test. These are two most important reasons. There are a couple of other reasons as well. Good GK in diverse topics helps students with RC. RC is in reading comprehension. And the fourth reason I will attest is the fact that a lot of colleges have second round exams which have GK. So, second round exams at IRMA, for example, has GK. So, IRMA, the first selection is done via CAT, odds at, that is essential. But after that, there's a second examination where GK is included. So these are the reasons according to me, and in fact, I have been taking sessions in July. I've been at pains to explain this thing, and this was one of the first sessions I took was to explain why a CAT student should not ignore GK. So, Sona, good to speak to you. I hope I have been able to address your query. You want to study MBA in aviation management? Yes, yes, absolutely. It's good as an MBA. But again, it depends on what is your background. So, Shonok, I think, Shonok, can you please tell me your academic background? That will help me in answering this question. Also, do let me know if I've been able to answer your queries. Right, let's continue then with the rest of it. So, the United Kingdom, in 2015, they had this landmark Brexit referendum in the country, and to the shock of many people outside, a small minority, I mean, a small majority, it was a slight majority of British who voted for leaving the European Union. So, for the last couple of years, the UK had been, because there were lots of agreements already in place, so you can't just exit. So, it took a lot of time. It was a long drawn out process. In fact, many in UK were fearing, many were wanting that the UK would leave simply without any other this thing. That would be called a no deal Brexit, that all ties severed. That, however, has not been the case. So I don't know if you're aware of what is the name of EU's commissioner. You need to know this name, especially this year in the context of Brexit. She is a very important personality. Her name is Ursula von der Leyen. I will write down her name. So Boris Johnson, who's the PM of the United Kingdom, he met Ursula von der Leyen, and the deal has covered bilateral trade between continental Europe and the UK by about $900 billion. There are also several other. Some free trade agreements have been signed, which is based on zero tariffs and zero quotas, which has been achieved. Also, there is no role anymore for the European Court of Justice, or the entire legal system will now be handled by the UK on its own. The other major thing, however, a sticking point was regarding Ireland. If you see the map of England, England shares a long. Okay, I'll show that to you on a map. That will be easier. I have done 10th from ICC, dropped after come. Okay, okay, cool, cool, very good. That's good. So, looking at your rather diverse background, I will suggest you go for a general MBA, because a general MBA will take care of several other points and not only, shall we say, a particular line. It will leave many other options open for you. Okay, I'll just write down the name of the person I was referring to. Ursula von der Leyen. Ursula von der Leyen from Germany is the somehow कुछ hang bang हो गया. I'll come back to that. ठीक है. So this is the big thing, big news. This one is okay. Moving ahead, the Chief Minister of Delhi, Shri Arvind Kejriwal, he has notified the media and the government bodies that a vaccine rollout plan is completely ready in Delhi. The plan is to vaccinate up to 51 lakh people in the city of Delhi in the first instant. These are among the most vulnerable, and they are the frontline workers who are likely to face. Okay, is the EU commissioner, which means basically she's the head of the European Union. So, Shona, go for a general MBA. That in your context will be better suited. ঠিক আছে, Shonok? Okay. Um, Okay, there's a bulletin which was released by the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. They have confirmed that the economic revival is actually beating the predictions. The predictions were not as upbeat as the present bulletin has confirmed. In India has meanwhile appealed against a Vodafone case verdict. So there has been a verdict regarding the Vodafone case where India has been asked to pay a certain fee to Vodafone. So India has appealed for that. That is worth 22,100 crore rupees. to the British company. So India has appealed in a court in Singapore. This court is meant for arbitration of international financial cases. So let's see how this works out. India recently lost another case. This was to KN PLC. Both are British companies, and both these cases were handled by international courts. They tend to be neutral in these kind of situations. Okay. Right, fair enough. There is one really interesting news from Tamil Nadu, the town of Kanchipuram, which is around 75 kilometers from Chennai. Okay, let me just ask you guys a question. Are you guys aware what is 3D printing? Can somebody tell me what is 3D printing? Let's see if somebody has joined the other channel as well. I think Shonak may have left, but the others can still answer. Do you have an idea what exactly is 3D printing? Any idea what is 3D printing? There is some important news from the state of Tamil Nadu. यश मैंने शेयर किया था पिछले क्लास में सो आई थिंक यू मिस्ड इट आउट मैंने आपको शेयर किया था मेरे पिछले उसमें चले जाओ उसके आपको एंड में आपको वो मिल जाएगा ठीक है लेट मी जस्ट सी इफ आई मे फाइंड इट हियर ठीक है यश अच्छा यश कैन यू टेल मी व्हाट इज 3D प्रिंटिंग Yes, yes, that's correct, Shonok. 3D printing is which has length, breadth, and width. We can also touch 3D printing. So this is basically printing which is done by a machine, but it also has several qualities. So it looks like a prototype of almost the real thing. Shonok has answered very well. Yeah, so that is pretty much what 3D printing stands for. यश जस्ट वेट फॉर अ मिनट मैं जरा वो अपना सुबह का सेशन ढूंढ के मैं तुम्हें दिखाता हूँ चलिए तब तक आगे बढ़ते हैं अच्छा 3D प्रिंटिंग तमिलनाडु में क्या हुआ है देर इज अ कॉन्क्रीट स्ट्रक्चर दैट हैज बीन क्रिएटेड इन कांचीपुरम विच इज अबाउट 75 kilometers from Chennai. This has been constructed by L&T, Larsen and Toubro, one of the construction giants. You know, it's a 700 square feet building. It looks like any other normal concrete shell structure. So इसका जो बेस है जो कंक्रीट है जो नीचे का जो बेस है वो नॉर्मल कंक्रीट से बनाया गया है द यूजुअल स्टफ बट द एक्चुअल बिल्डिंग इज नॉट मेड बाय द कन्वेंशनल कंक्रीट मिक्स बट by a unusual concrete mix. So this is a major development. So the senior executive vice president for buildings for L&T company, Mr. MV Satish, he is the one who has spoken about it. And there is a lot of talk that 3D printing could actually end up becoming a very important tool in the future. And this could actually have a specific, especially a good impact on cinema and entertainment. Because for a lot of the sets that we create, set decoration, such an important task of cinema and television, all the television series, तो उसमें this can be a very important tool to look into. आई एम अनेबल टू फाइंड दैट अभी के लिए इस पे। चलिए मैं दोबारा ट्राई करता हूँ, डोंट वरी। हाँ यश, आई विल बी एबल टू फाइंड इट। ठीक है यश, डोंट वरी, आई जस्ट फाइंड इट समवेयर। ओके, लेट्स मूव अहेड टू सम ऑफ द लोकल पेजेस देन on the newspaper, right? uh, s- uh, Today several churches are actually shut in spite of Christmas due to the pandemic and to ensure that social distancing is followed. One such example is the Sacred Heart Cathedral, one of the biggest churches in Delhi. Okay, now in the state for Assam, something important has taken place. You might be aware, sometime back there was an election in an area called Bodo land. Uh, is anybody aware what exactly is Bodo land? Let me write it down for you guys. That might just make things easier. Shonok, maybe you can tell me. Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But I would always suggest that you pay the fee. It's actually not a very heavy fee. An annual fee will only cost you 15,000 rupees, 15,000 something. If you use my code, you'll get a further 10% off. So I'll always suggest you go for something paid. मैं हर चीज में लोगों को पेड सजेस्ट करता हूँ, मैं तो फ्री भी कभी सजेस्ट नहीं करता। मैं तो जो भी ऑनलाइन न्यूज भी पढ़ता हूँ उसमें मैं पेड बोलता हूँ। ये जो मैं आपको डेटा दे रहा हूँ आज इतनी चीजें, क्योंकि मेरे पास हिंदू में पैसे देता हूं, इसलिए फ्री का जब हम न्यूज देखते हैं वी डोंट वैल्यू इट, एंड दैट इज व्हाट spreads fake news. So do watch my free videos on YouTube, do watch some free videos on unacademy.com, but I would suggest that you always enroll. Jab tak na you don't pay, there is no you know, you just don't have the ownership over that particular thing. So that is something which I will always suggest, Shonok. The rest is your decision. Have you heard of Bodo land? Are you aware what exactly am I talking about? Bodo land, not lad land. आज सुबह का सेशन नहीं मिल रहा यहाँ पे। नवंबर करंट अफेयर्स 4, पता नहीं। यश, यू विल हैव टू वेट फॉर इट। सो बोडोलैंड बोल के एक एरिया है असम में। बेसिकली देयर इज अ ट्राइब कॉल्ड द बोडोज। सो दे आर डोमिनेंट इन अ पर्टिकुलर ट्राइब। They wanted autonomy. Initially, they wanted a separate state, but it was realized a while later that separate statehood may not be feasible. So that is why some districts of Assam were separated out and they were merged into what is called a autonomous council. Autonomous council का मतलब है कि वो जो एरिया होगा वहाँ पे tribals will have full freedom. They can follow a traditional tribal lifestyle. The degree of freedom varies depending on whether it's a Schedule 5 area or Schedule 6 area. Most likely, Bodoland is a Schedule 5 area. But anyway, in the state of Assam, there are three tribal councils. One is of the Karbi tribe known as Karbi Anglong, another is of the Dimasa tribe, I'm forgetting the name of that place, and the third is Bodoland, which belongs to the Bodos. There is now a demand by yet another tribe called the Zomis. They are not in Assam, they are in Manipur, again, a northeastern states. They want a similar Bodoland tribal council type of a council for themselves as well. So recently the Bodoland elections were held. मैं आपको Bodoland elections का result बताता हूँ. There are total of 40 seats. So until recently, if you look at the last assembly elections in Assam held in 2016, वहाँ पे the BJP was in an alliance with two parties in Assam. One is the Assam Gana Parishad, the other is the BTF, Bodoland People's Front, BPF. ठीक है? So BPF and the BJP, they were allies. But in this election, the BJP fought separately because they thought they could win it on their own, and their decision was vindicated. Out of 40 seats, the Bodoland People's Front was not able to capture majority. They only won 17 of the 40 seats. The Congress won one. They fought separately, of course. The remaining 22, the BJP captured, I believe, around 9 or 10 of those seats. The rest 12 were won by two other regional parties. So now BJP has emerged as a kingmaker. BJP has now allied with the non-BPF parties to form government, the tribal government in Bodoland. So there is this tribe called the Zomi tribe in Manipur. They want something similar. So Zomis are again not a single people. They are divided into 9 sub-tribes within them. So they have appealed to the Home Minister Shri Amit Shah, to the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and to the Chief Minister of Manipur, who is from the BJP, Mr. N. Biren Singh, for the creation of the Zomi Territorial Council, which would be called the ZTC. I'll quickly give you a final update on the Bodoland election. As I was telling you guys, kahan the hum? Yes, so there was a floor test which the BPF failed to capture. So there's the UPPL, or the United People's Party Liberal, which is headed by Mr. Pramod Boro. They ended up having 22 of the 40 seats in an alliance with the BJP and another local party. The only 18 who are not part of this, one of them is of the Congress, and there are 17 belonging to the the Bodoland People's Front, which was a traditional ally of the BJP. Still, they are members of the NDA. Okay, okay, no problem. It's Bodoland, not Bodoland. Listening, reading newspaper and GK one time. How can I remember it? Uh, Yes, yes, that's a very good question. So no need to pay for every session. All these sessions on YouTube are free of cost, but it's your sessions of this thing. The sessions on unacademy.com, many of them are free as well, but some of them are paid. So you just need to pay for that particular part. So that is something you will understand. Just explore my sessions on unacademy.com. You will get an idea how to improve your GK. Just watch my sessions. मैं पूरा cover कर रहा हूँ तो I will make sure your GK improves massively. Right, let's move on to the editorial. The editorial is a page which obviously many people look up to as the most important ones. There's one small article, what is it's called the provocation trap. This is about the Iran, the country Iran, and its relations with US. So it says Iran should rein in its proxies in Iraq and allow the Biden administration to reboot diplomacy. The idea is that Donald Trump was extremely aggressive against Iran. While Trump was very friendly to Arab nations and to Israel, he was extremely aggressive against Iran, and that is something which there is this feeling that the Joe Biden government, Joe Biden has won the US election. He's the president elect, will take power from sometime in the middle of Jan, and so Iran is on the lookout. They feel that the USA will now be a much more cooperative nation. Better diplomatic relations between the embassies on both sides should now be improved. Right. There's also an article on the taxation system, and it says learning to let go. Basically, the policy makers need to know when the economy needs to be let to go in autopilot mode. So India must ensure policy stability and not rely on retrospective laws to levy tax. Retrospective मतलब जब एक law pass हो गया, बाद में उस tax को आपने increase कर दिया, तो ऐसी चीजें ना हो. That is what is said, and this is in regards to the case with Vodafone and Cairn, both these international cases. There's a third article, and in fact, I would love to speak to you on this. It's about children and coding. So the article says, are children being introduced to coding too early in life? There are two people who are part of a debate. One of them is Miss Pritika Datta, who's a data scientist and entrepreneur who leads initiatives to teach coding to young children via interactive games. There's also Lata Madhusudan, who's an educator with over 3 decades of experience. She's the founder of Prakriti, a Waldorf kindergarten, which is inspired by the Waldorf school in Bengaluru. Now, they are discussing whether coding is something which young children should be introduced to. Pritika is in favor. Miss Lata Madhusudan is not in favor. So the idea being that why is this coming into consideration is because of two reasons. One, the NEP, the National Education Policy, which was released earlier this year, speaks about. It has mentioned that education should be included. Coding could be introduced to students as early as class 6. So that is the first part. The second reason here is the fact that a lot of the advertisements by several companies, some of you may have seen ads of White Hat Junior. Many people consider that some of these ads may have been a tad bit unethical. They are promising that extremely small children, like almost infants, they be learning coding. So that is something which has been discussed about. So there is this debate between some edtech companies which are speaking about in support of coding, but there have been a lot of traditional educators who believe that this only increases the screen time for children, will lead to a lot of psychological stress for the children. So what do you think, Shonok? In fact, all the others watching this session, I would love to hear from you. We can always have a group discussion on this topic, whether coding is being introduced way too early in life for children. ठीक है, so do let me know your points. What according to you is the ideal age to introduce coding as a subject? See, अगर मन करे तो कोई भी सीख सकता है, क्लास 2 में भी सीख सकते हो, वो बात नहीं है. But should it be made compulsory from say class 6? Should there be an so much pressure through advertisements on young children to learn coding? That is the big question here, that is being asked. Okay, the next three articles, one of them is about the farm protest and the other two are about politics. I'll talk to you about the farm protest one. This has been written by Mr. Dr. Dipankar Gupta, who's a eminent sociologist and was a professor at the School of the Social Sciences, part of the JNU or Jawaharlal University. He says that there are truths and half truths on both sides of the divide, farmers as well as the government. So first of all, he says that this entire MSP and APMC or agriculture produce market committees, this is something which was never a law. This was merely a policy. So to ask them, the farmers asking this to be made a law is probably not a great thing, because obviously it was never really a law per se. It was more of a policy decision. Secondly, he also says that these APMC, they have long been known to be beneficial to a lot of farmers. So farmers in Punjab and Haryana have for long been amongst the most enterprising in a way. So that is why this is not comparing other states. We are not, because obviously they did get benefits of Green Revolution, but generally these two states have contributed a lot to the food basket in India, and that is something we should accept. MSP as a policy is actually acceptable on 22 crops, but it is by and large only being used on wheat and rice. And why is that the case? Wheat and paddy is because these two states, Punjab and Haryana, in the northwest of the country, they largely produce these two crops, and that is why they end up, these states end up supplying these two crops. But इसका बहुत सारा problem भी है. One, so electricity cut, don't worry, session will not go off. I have a क्या कहते हैं UPS attached to the Wi-Fi. Lights, मुझे देखना थोड़ा problem होगा. I think that is not a big problem. Anyway, lights have come in. Also, the ecology of Northwest India has gone really bad because rice is a really thirsty crop. Paddy requires a lot of water. Being dependent so much on rice and wheat may not be a great thing. So instead of rice, if more vegetables could be grown, but that's of the thing. Focus on rice and wheat. But now that we do not have so much of food shortage, we have an ulta problem. We have a lot of production, we have a lot of procurement, but then many times they have been known to ask for prices being increased whenever the international prices are greater than the MSP. Now this is sort of looking at advantages both sides. On bad years you want the minimum pricing from the government, and on the good years you don't want that, you want to export it. This has been known for crops such as onion and cotton in the recent past. So yes, there are lots of these half truths which are being mentioned on both sides. The APMCs generally have a positive image in Punjab and Haryana. So this is another thing. The government has also been on half truths. They have just been almost like pests and vultures who take away the money from farmers. That is not really always the case. In fact, in these states, the others double act as Arhityas themselves whenever they get an opportunity. Okay, let me see your answer. Coding should be introduced as optional subject, just like I had computer science. Okay, that's great. Wonderful to hear your viewpoint. That's a slightly different viewpoint. Right. I hope you guys are there. on this one as well. Unacademy CAT for. Yes, yes, absolutely, Shaunak. I fully get your. Right. Okay. There is also this talk about subsidies, and generally, whenever subsidies are removed, so India has massive subsidies, and farmers are among the most subsidized. Farming, the total figure in India is much higher than any other country. So in India, it's 45 to $50 billion, wherein $9 billion. So even there, in spite of so many countries, it's still less than India. While in Japan, it stands at $46 billion. So Japan is somewhat comparable, but you need to understand Japan's economy is slightly larger than India's, and obviously the per capita income is significantly higher. So that is where things get a little bit uncomfortable on these sides. The writer has also spoken about contract farming and how contract farming has long been considered, because what happens is when the farmers they tend to give their land for contract farming, after a while small farmers often feel cheated, because either the contractors do not agree to buy the crop, or they bully them in a way that you have to sell the crop at a lower price. Also, if you look at the laws right now, the agricultural laws, they were initially introduced with a positive thing to ensure that zamindari system is abolished and land goes. This is actually proving to be a hindrance, because when it is contract farming, if you have given away land and you are not farming yourself, it can actually bounce back on you. Right. So, of course, any time if subsidies are removed, people will protest. So, the government needs to stand firm. The writer feels that these laws are pretty good. City and fertilizer get cheaper rations, and ministers because they get welfare, corporates because they get all these SEZs, state university, even prisons. In fact, in the US, 8% of all prisoners are kept in privately run prisons. So, anytime any benefit is taken away, there will be to this. So anyway, these are a couple of the truths and half truths which have been pointed out in this article. Okay, BJP and the Congress, or maybe I should say Congress and BJP. I'm not sure. These two parties, they're pretty close in that state. So the third biggest party is JDS, Janta Dal Secular. So Janta Dal Secular is headed by Sri Deve Gowda, who was India's Prime Minister for a little less than a year between 1996 to 1997, and his son, Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy, who pretty much is the face of the party now. He's been Chief Minister, been able to grow beyond a few strongholds in southern Karnataka, around the Mysuru Mandya region. They've never really expanded to the north as well, which is why their tally has never crossed a maximum of 58. Between 37 to 58 is how their numbers have hovered around. 58 भी कब हुआ था मैं आपको story बताता हूँ 2013 his own party, so a lot of the BJP votes relatively close second, so that is why they got 58, which is their highest ever. But otherwise, a full strength BJP, a full strength Congress, the JDS generally tends to finish. Those are similar to the Congress than the BJP. And that leads to certain complications as well, because in a first past the post system, this tends to generally help the BJP rather than the Congress. I'll give you an example. 2018 Vidhan Sabha elections in Karnataka. I do not have the exact figures right now, but the Congress had a 38% vote share. The BJP was slightly lesser at 36%. The JDS was third at 19%. The rest was others. These three together 93%. But so Congress 38, BJP 36, but BJP 104 seats, the Congress 78. That's because a lot of seats where Congress does get good number of votes, its votes get cancelled because JDS has. These two parties did come together, but they had a pretty poor time together in terms of coordination, and they were routed in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the NDA winning 26 of the 28 seats, just one seat each to the Congress and the JDS, the BJP winning 25 seat, one seat going to an independent. TS was not able to retain the seats from its MLAs who had defected to the BJP. The JDS's vote bank has also typically been within a certain caste, which is known as the Vokkaligas. Vokkaligas, in fact, there are 42 Vokkaligas in the Karnataka Assembly of 224. Out of those 42, 23 are from the JDS. They have not really been able to reach out to the scheduled castes or the scheduled tribes. The BJP in many of their legislations in the state. For example, there was the Karnataka Land Reforms Act 1961, which is about non-agriculturals to buy agricultural land. इसमें support दिया है JDS ने BJP को. That was surprising. Also, when there was a no confidence motion put in by the Congress against the chairperson of the Legislative Council in the Yedurappa government. The JDS supported the Yedurappa government. And thirdly, Mr. Kumaraswamy has also downplayed the farmer protests against, the happened is Deve Gowda, his father, the party patriarch. He was always committed to right, right, absolutely correct. I agree, Shonok. Good points given by you. Good points shared by you. Right, so that is the thing that makes different parties at different times. So there is where while Nitish Kumar is party is around 77, 78. So most likely this is his last term as a CM. Next time there could be a resurgent Congress in Karnataka. So for BJP, in order to retain power, they might need the help of the JDS. So that is what it seems. There has been a lot of talk of a merger between the JDS and the BJP, but that although it has been denied by both Mr. Kumaraswamy and Mr. Yediyurappa, but it has not been ruled out completely. They have not denied that they had a meeting on this topic in the first place. So let us see how things work in the future on this thing. Right, Shonok? Do let me know your views. And finally, coming into this thing regarding Tamil Nadu, there is this article on by Mr. T. Ramakrishnan, who is a regular contributor to the Hindu. So he speaks about Mr. M.G. Ramachandran, who was one of the tallest leaders from Tamil Nadu. He was earlier with the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam or the TMK. Then he split the party, formed his own party, the ADMK. The ADMK's values were somewhat different from the DMK, although it had very similar in the sense that it had a Dravidian philosophy and its stance on the two language policy remained similar, but they were not into sort of atheism the way or anti certain upper caste as the DMK was. That is how it was different. Even today, MGR, as he was popularly known as, remains a hugely popular leader, and several people want to take up his name in ways. And one of the crucial ones being how in one of the by elections he actually contested against the Congress leader, Mr. K. Kamraj, and there he won a Lok Sabha seat, pushing the DMK to third spot. He also talks about the 1977 election when state elections when he actually allied with the Congress against the DMK, winning power. But then in 1979 ditched the Congress and he joined the CPIM, the right. So there has been a lot of talk that maybe his popularity is slightly person who formed his own party 2 years back as the MNM, the Makkal Nidhi Mayyam, also recently with what his Rajnikant, who formed his own party. They've both spoken about MGR. And even those from the DMK, like Mr. Stalin, in order to attack the present CM from the ADMK, Mr. Palaniswamy, they have also quoted MGR. So that is how things are really interesting. In fact, MGR had once was one of those first who had spoken about an upper layer or creamy layer among the backward classes. So he was fixing the backward classes quota at around 9,000 rupees a year. GMAT is easier in terms of maths. So if you're weak at maths, then GMAT, right, Shonok? Right. So these are a couple of these topics here. Right. Let's move on to some more of the local pages. I'm done more or less with the editorial. Okay, so in Telangana, a new project dam is being built. It's known as the Kunda Pochamma project, which is in the Mamidyala village. So a lot of people were rehabilitated. They were sent away from that village because a dam was being built. But now the villagers, they complain that they haven't been rehabilitated well enough. And in fact, a 45-year-old government employee who died of a heart attack, a cardiac arrest, he is not even being cremated properly. Right, so they have appealed to the government to do something about it. there's a very interesting message which an NGO has come up with. This NGO is called बहुत देर तक हम सुनते हैं कि स्वच्छता का पालन कीजिए, दूरी बनाइए. So this has gone really boring. While in March it was done with a genuine positive intention. Now I'm hearing that I generally put it out कि भली चलो loudspeaker में सुनने दो. उसके बाद I'll listen to it. So that's what they are talking about, the number of man hours. So maybe the government should listen to what the consumer voice say and look at some of the changes to this thing. Mohammad Khan to consider having a winter session of assembly. The parliament winter session has been cancelled this year due to the COVID protocols and the distancing norms. Similarly, lots of assemblies in state governments have also been cancelled or postponed, but Kerala is one state which has repeatedly wanted. So now they've written once again to the governor seeking permission to have an assembly this year. So just when we are having these farmer protests, there is also talk of some labor codes which were passed similarly during the monsoon session. So some of the unions are asking for boycott due to the these consultations not being done, the draft rules. Okay, there is very important news from the state of West Bengal. West Bengal is a state which is set to have elections in the month of April or May, and it's going to be a really tough battle, it seems, between the ruling Trinamool Congress versus the BJP. The Trinamool Congress, its chief minister, Ms. Mamata Banerjee, remains extremely popular on her own, but she's facing a lot of competition from the BJP, which obviously is in power at the center, BJP had almost no presence in West Bengal till a couple of years back. Its vote share was in single digits throughout, but last couple of years they've really come up. 2018 Panchayat elections is when they came second in the state for the first time ever, a distant second nonetheless, but still a massive improvement. But they did even better in last year's Lok Sabha election, storming the citadel, winning 18 of the 42 seats. TMC did win 22, just two were won by the Congress. But there is also a third faction which is allied with the Congress. The Congress was the principal opposition for the first 20 of those 34 years. Um, they also fought together in 2016. This will be very important. They are not likely to come to power, but whom they vote for becomes how many seats they get, what is their vote share. That could be share remained more or less solid. In fact, it even increased by a certain percentage. Where things went wrong for the TMC is the fact that a lot of the left and Congress that the BJP tends to do better in national elections than state elections. We've seen repeatedly this trend for the last couple of years. In fact, there were a couple of by-polls held earlier late in 2019. No, I think early in 2020 or late 2019. All three of them won comfortably by the TMC. We saw a greater vote share of the Congress and the left there. So that could be interesting. Now, West Bengal has total of 294 seats. The Congress is expected to contest on around 100 of those seats, while the left is expected to contest on the remaining seats. The left front in West Bengal comprises of four parties. The CPIM is by far the strongest of the lot. You also have the CPI. Right. Moving ahead further, that Nepal, the House dissolution in Nepal, Nepal's election in 2021, that is an internal issue of the country, so we are not going to, shall we say, interfere in that thing. This is in order to promote a lot of these sites, and also because they understand that various industries have not earned well, so they require this kind of a reprieve. Now, the Navy of India is said to have a very important military exercise. Joint military exercises का purpose is two militaries fighting. Two militaries, they do drills together. The idea is that you learn something from you learn something from me, I learn something from you. We learn coordination, and if there is ever a war, we can actually fight together on the same side. So that is the policy behind all these. Um, Military exercise, and India is said to have a military exercise with Vietnam. It's known as PASEX, or a passage exercise. This will be in the South China Sea, and it is the INS Kiltan which is going to represent the Indian Navy. INS stands for Indian Naval Ship. Moving on to some of the international pages, there is a new coronavirus variant which has been found in Nigeria. This is, I told you, UK, there's another strain found. In fact, the UK has confirmed that two more variants have also come in from South Africa, and now Nigeria has one. I'll talk a little bit more in this on this, but first I'll just connect the charger of my laptop. The charge is running out. Right. Where was I? Do let me know if there are any questions on any of the topics which I'm talking about, or anything else as well. Okay, do feel free to write in. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, some news from the business pages. The ILNFS, which is extremely stressed, ILNFS, one of the troubled corporates in India, they have got approval from the ministry to sell off their China road asset. This is one of the ways in which to reduce the debt of 2,600 crore that is on the ILFS. Mrs. Bector's, which is a food and beverage company, they made their debut on the stock market yesterday, having an IPO, initial public offering. They did 107% on their debut. Overall, Sensex had a very good day yesterday. The Brexit deal has been very good for the international markets. Yeah. The Vedanta Group, which is based in London, has increased its share of its India based unit to 55%. So they did have holdings in India, but they have increased this particular thing. The Central Bank of India, meanwhile, has decided to exit its housing finance joint venture, um, which is with the Cent Bank Home Finance Bank Limited. So they're going to give it up to the Central Housing Finance instead. The SBI, meanwhile, has bought a 186 crore stake at the NBFC called Paisalo. NBFC stands for National Non-Banking Financial Companies. So this is a Paisalo Digital worth 186 crore. This has been bought by the life insurance division of SBI. The Garud Vyasa Bank has confirmed. Sorry, not the Garud Vyasa. It's the UCO Bank, which is headed by Mr. Ajay Das. Vyas here is the name of the person. He's the executive director of the UCO Bank. He has confirmed that in the future, the rating agencies may matter less. You know, there are these rating agencies. Internationally, you have S&P, Moody's, Fitch, etc. In India, you have ICRA, CRISIL, CIBIL. So he says that maybe these ratings will matter less in the future, but it is cash flows that are going to matter. Ernst& Young has given great hope to the world of corporate recruitment. They have confirmed that around 9,000 professionals are set to be hired in the year 2021. The former Chief Managing Director of Cognizant India, Mr. Ramkumar Ramamurthy, will now have a stint in academics. He will join as the Pro Vice Chancellor of the CREA University, which is based in Chennai. Meanwhile, there is this new vaccine from the US company called COVAX. they are set to roll out their COVID-19 vaccine. This will be manufactured in India by the indigenous company Aurobindo Pharma. Right, I'm done with the business page. Let's move on to the sports pages. Couple of interesting things happening in the world of sports. Right. So yesterday was also the AGM, or the annual general meeting of the BCCI, and the BCCI has approved two additional teams in the IPL. So this is one thing which was being discussed. So next year we'll have 10 teams. See, the list of 6 cities have already been confirmed. Among them, there will be a bidding, and any 3 cities will be selected from that list. Pragyan Ojha will also be inducted into the Cricketers Association, as also will be Mr. Brijesh Patel and Khairul Majumdar. They will be retaining their positions in the IPL governing body. The COVID situation is getting worse in Sydney. Sydney is set to host the third test match between India and Australia in the new year, I think beginning 3rd of January, after the Boxing Day test match is over in Melbourne. But Melbourne has already confirmed that they are on standby in case hosting a match in Sydney gets unfeasible. All the top lawn tennis players have confirmed that they will be available for the Australian Open, which will be held in January for lawn tennis. The BCCI has also confirmed that in case this year we are unable to complete the full domestic season, there will be a compensatory package for all the teams. Right. Meanwhile, Chetan Sharma, who's a former Indian pacer, he has been confirmed as the new chairman of selectors. The team of selectors also has two more fast bowlers, Debashish Mohanty and Abhay Kuruvilla. These are two fast bowlers. I remember I used to watch them in the late 90s. They were both pretty good, but not great. I mean, Kuruvilla was better. Devashish Mohanty used to concede a lot of runs, I remember, in the late 90s. Mohanty from Odisha, Kuruvilla from used to play for Mumbai, and they have been selected. The likes of Nikhil Chopra, Ajay Ratra, Vijay Daya, and Maninder Singh, and Ajit Agarkar, Nain Mongia, they were all in the running. Also Shiv Sundar Das, but they were not selected in the end. Also Rana they both not selected in the end. Right. The Boxing Federation of India was set to have its elections, but now that has been delayed further. So the present team will continue heading the things. Right. The England team is set to travel to Sri Lanka for a couple of cricket matches. There is a sort of travel ban on people from the UK due to the new COVID-19 strain, but the cricketers are not to be, they are exempted from this particular travel ban. And finally, like every other day, I'm going to round up the day with a end the day with a roundup of the football news. So starting with from Europe. So starting with Spain, Real Madrid back to winning ways, winning 2-0 against Granada with goals from the Brazilian midfielder Casemiro and one by the French centre forward Karim Benzema. Real Betis, meanwhile, defeated Cadiz 1-0. Moving to Italy, Hellas Verona lost 1-2 to Inter Milan, for whom the Slovakian centre back Milan Skriniar scored one of the goals. The other goal was scored by the Argentinian striker Lautaro Martinez. AS Roma won 3-2 against Cagliari. One of the goals being scored by Edin Dzeko, the veteran Bosnian striker, while Joao Pedro, the Portuguese playmaker, scored both the goals for Cagliari, a Portuguese forward. AC Milan, the surprise league leaders, they defeated SS Lazio 3-2. Ante Rebic scored one goal, the Croatian. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who's at the moment having a contract dispute, he's in the last season of his contract. He scored off a penalty, the Turkish playmaker. Also, the French fullback Theo Hernandez, he just doesn't stop scoring. He scores another. For Lazio, it is the Spanish playmaker Luis Alberto who scored the first goal. while the record goal scorer Ciro Immobile, the Italian striker who was the top scorer last season in Serie A, he added a second goal. So close victory, very exciting match between the two sides. Bologna, meanwhile, could draw 2-2 with Atalanta, for whom both the goals were scored by Luis Muriel. And finally, SC Napoli, so they earned a draw, salvaged a draw against FC Torino, thanks to a late goal by the Italian forward Lorenzo Insigne, who scored in injury time. Right, so I'm pretty much done with today's session. You may ask me if you guys have any questions now. I will be happy to answer them. I will also open the session for a couple of minutes in case you guys have any questions. So here it is. This is my code at the bottom, AD09. Please feel free to make use of this. Whenever you're enrolling, you will receive a flat 10% off. Right, do like my session, share it with your friends, and do subscribe me on unacademy.com. Will be great if you can do that. Right. Also, do let me know if I may wrap up the session. I can see a couple of people have joined in the session. Do feel free to write in your comments. Whatever, either way, if you have any questions, I will be extremely happy to answer your queries. Shonok, where did you disappear? Okay, fair enough. I think we can wrap up the session now. Thank you so much, guys. Wonderful interacting with you all. A couple of days celebrating